Alright, boys and girls, today's lesson is lesson 7-7, equivalent fractions. You should be able to say at the end of this lesson, I can identify fractional parts of regions, I can name equivalent fractions, I can use a rule for generating equivalent fractions, and I can develop a rule for generating equivalent fractions. We started doing that in the last lesson, 7-6. We started doing a lot of that, making our own rules that we found certain patterns. So today we're kind of just reinforcing that a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is I want to just kind of go over the ways we talked about yesterday to find equivalent fractions. For example, if we have 1/4, there are ways you can find equivalent fractions to this. You could take the numerator and the denominator, multiply them each by 2 to give you 2/8, or you could take them and multiply them each by 200. To give you 200 over 800. These all are the same fraction. They're all equivalent. One trick I was telling you yesterday, that a fraction that has a numerator 1 and then whatever the denominator is basically telling you that it is 5 times the numerator. So if you had 3, 5 times that would be 15. If you had 10, 5 times that would be 50. Okay? Any fraction that is equivalent to 1/5 will have the numerator and the denominator. The denominator will be 5 times as much as the numerator. If, for example, you have a fraction that does not have the numerator as 1, you're going to have to be more creative to find out equivalent fractions. So if we have 2/7, we go back to how I just told you, the first way I told you, by taking any number and making a 1 out of a number, meaning 3/3, which really equals 1. We're going to multiply it by 3/3, so make it 6/21. 6/21 and 2/7 are equivalent. 3/3 is really 1. So you know any number times 1 is itself. 1,000,000 times 1 equals 1,000,000. 25 times 1 equals 25. So by us taking a number, a numerator and denominator, that are equal, we're really multiplying it by 1, but we're basically just changing the fraction around. So we're making 2/7 and turning it into 6/21. So that would show you another equivalent fraction. Let's try one more. I'm going to put one on the board for you. And I want you to figure it out on your own. I'm going to put 2 up. I'm going to do 1/8 and 4/5. I want you to find 2 equivalent fractions for each. Okay? I guess I could have 1, 2, 1, 2. I want you to find 2 equivalent fractions for each. I don't care how you do it. I don't care what your pattern is or what strategy you use, but I want you to find 2 for each. Alright. Hopefully, 2 of the ways you could do this, you know when it's 1/8 and the 1 is in the numerator spot, that the denominator will be 8 times whatever you put in the numerator spot. So, I'm going to do 6. And I know 6 times 8 is 48. So this is an equivalent fraction. Or I'm just going to do something really easy and just double it. Just times it by 2. Okay, 1 times 2 is 2. 8 times 2 is 16. Okay, these are all equivalent fractions. 4/5, let's do the next one. Obviously with 4/5 you can't take the numerator and multiply by 5. Even though the 5 is in the denominator, it's not a 1 up top, it's a 4. So that tells you 4 out of every 5. Okay, so this is where you probably just want to go with the common multiplying it by 1, but making that 1 different. So if you want to make it 4/5 times it by 5/5, because that's really 1, just to change it up, you get 20/25. Okay, so that's 1 equivalent fraction. Another way, you can take 4/5 times it by, let's do 10/10, because that's really 1, but we're going to change up the original fraction altogether. So it gives us 40/50. This right here this right there, and this right there are all equivalent fractions. Alright, so let's go to page 201 in your journal. Okay, this is actually a really, really, really easy page. I mean, really easy. I almost don't even want to show you it's so easy, because I think you can get it done in like 5 seconds. But it tells you the whole. The most important thing is it tells you the whole right on top. It's always the most important thing. The whole is a square. Okay? The whole square. Okay, I know this one looks like 4 squares, but the whole thing is the square. Okay? Number 1 says color half of each large square. Okay? This one is already done for you. 1 out of the 2. Next one, there's 4. So you're going to have to color 2 out of the 4, because they want you to color half. Okay, next one, there's 8, but you're going to color 4 out of the 8. And that tells you that all 3 of these are what? Hopefully I hear you when I'm teaching my lesson next to you. Equivalent fractions. Okay? Next one. It says color 1/4 of it. First one's easy because there's only 4 in there. So you color 1 out of 4. Okay? The next one tells you to color 1/4 of a square, but there's 8. So basically it's telling you color 1 out of every 4. So here's 1 out of this 4 and 1 out of that 4. Notice everything looks the same. Okay, over here they want you to color 1 out of every 4 here. Here's 1 out of the first 4, 1 out of the next 4, 1 out of the next 4, 1 out of the next 4. That gives you 4 out of 16 here, 2 8s, 1/4. These are all what? Equivalent fractions. Alright, so I want you to hold up on the next ones. Okay, because those are so easy, you can do them on your own. Actually, no, you are going to. You can do that. I want you to go to your desk now. I want you to finish up the last one here, number 3. And then I want you to go down, and there looks like a whole lot of stuff to do here. I don't want you to worry too much about decimals or percents yet. We'll talk about that in small group. But I want you just to find as many equivalent fractions as you feel like finding for each of these fractions. There's 2 pages of them. These are actually on page 342 and 343. So they're not right next to your 201. They're a ways back. But I want you to fill these in as many fractions as you can. You're going to see how easy it is to find these fractions. Okay, you can go to your desk now.